This is Off Air, the podcast series. Thank you so much for listening to it. Today we are bringing to you episode 9 of our podcast series, and I am not alone. It's a special episode. I am joined on my recording location by a bunch of educators, a battalion of educators. I'll let them introduce themselves. My name is Tobegani, as you know, your host for this podcast series. Episode 9 is what we are delivering today. I'll let the ladies and the gentlemen to introduce themselves, and then we'll take it from there.
Hello.
Hi, Tandega S01 here.
Hi, Philip Velase.
As I said, I'm joined by a group of educators. These are my colleagues. These are people I work with. As you know, I did mention this on episode 6 that I am an educator by profession. So I work with these people. I don't know why they're here, but they can tell us why they're here. Let's start with S01 Tandeg. Why are we here?
Well, the reason I am here specifically is to share my own views and opinions about the topics that we're going to cover on this podcast today. So, yeah.
Okay, I was invited, so I thought it was a great opportunity to come. I've always wanted to participate, so I thought this was a chance. Yeah.
For me, I just tagged along. But I thought it would be nice to share my opinions and my views on a few issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying a few issues. What few issues do you think we should talk about today? I had my own. I drafted my own program for today's show, but your presence, the three of you, has changed the agenda for today. So, I think you should share with us what is it that you want us to talk about first. You know, one of the things that I thought we would talk about, and I just want to hear your view on it, is the podcast interview of Prince KB with MacGyver, where he talks about his relationship with TNS. And he said a few things that got people pissed on social media. I'm sure you saw, if you are on social media, you saw how the whole Twitter was up in arms against Prince KB.
Vibe, I wasn't even that close to her.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't even hurt
Yeah.
when I saw these things. I was hurt because of TNS.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
boy,
more, yeah.
I took you from, you didn't even, you know, when TNS came, sorry to say this, but when TNS came to my house, bro, he didn't even have underwear. You know, he didn't have a toothbrush. TNS literally used to wash himself with shampoo. That was
yeah.
no, bro. Yeah, so
That's crazy.
So, bro, it was that kind of thing. I was hurt because I saw where he comes from.
Yeah.
You know, I took him from nothing, and then he does that, and I'm like,
Did you think that was fair? What did you make of the interview? What did you make of the things that he said about TNS on that interview?
They say men are trash. They are talking about Prince KB in particular. I'm kidding. I thought it was, man, it's so bad. It's bad when someone helps you and then they turn around and make fun of you. You know, the fact that he was laughing, it's bad. He's lost it. I was never a fan. I'm probably never gonna be after this.
Oh, okay. Prince KB, you just lost one fan.
That he never had.
Oh, that he never had.
Yeah.
I don't know, it puts a question to me about Ubuntu Bakho. Did you really help him just because you want to come and gloat or tell all the bad things about TNS? Were you really helping him because you really wanted to? And did he really confide or did he come to you, Ekbonisa, all that he did in confidence? But now, when you come and disclose such in public, it creates a very bad image
About
Prince KB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think even the laugh is fake. You know when someone laughs and wants everyone else to laugh,
Yeah.
well, there's nothing funny.
Yeah.
It's just one of those. There's nothing funny about the guy. It was just whack. Yeah.
Yeah. Stay away from people who help you and turn around and talk about you.
But how would you know? You know, you meet someone who seems genuine, they want to help, and then you don't know what they're gonna say tomorrow about you.
But they've been saying Prince KB is trash. Remember that time he had a fight with Casper? Was it Casper?
Casper.
Casper said Prince KB is an asshole of a human being. Excuse my French. We should have listened. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Oh wow, shots fired.
And if you actually listen to most of TNS's song, they're more of like a reply to someone. And when you analyze the beef between the two of them, you can see that they are actually directed to Prince KB. The hit single Umona.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's a
Very.
nice song and it speaks a lot. And I don't know if it's just me, but that whole album was I can hear a bit of KB, but even better. The guy is good and he sounds even better. So KB is probably
So you think KB no
worried to this guy has my number and he has it better than me.
Yes.
So possibly it could be one of those, you know, when you listen to someone and you can hear that, no, this guy is actually good and it's gonna give me a run for my money. Then you get worried.
He's trying
It's
to bring him
also
down.
it's also something that abantu basaba ukusiza abanye abantu ukuthi when I help you, you're gonna get ahead of me. So I feel like kunalento leyo Prince KB that I've helped him, so now he's gonna get
better.
yes.
So he has a
Shiyumona down.
he has a pull her down syndrome, but usually it's women who
Do that. And we spoke about that as well in this series, but the pull head down syndrome. But it looks like it's happening also with the likes of
down.
so I
pulling
know
down.
gender, that's the
So
thing.
it's
There's no gender, this thing.
okay. Yeah, you know, some people on one of the things I said on Twitter was that this will make other people scared to ask for help. One of the books I like, Malcolm Gladwell talks about how successful people never make it on their own. So there's no way you can make it on your own. But at the same time, you're scared of asking for help because tomorrow will be successful, and then people will be putting your dirty linen out there and telling the rest of the world how you actually benefited from their generosity, which we don't even know if it's generosity at all.
Ask for help anyway.
Personally, I also think, you know, when we are a matured and grown-up adult, when you make up stories, you must also find a limit. You can't say someone had one underwear as if you were sleeping with them, checking what are they doing, when are they changing the underwear. So, I mean, KB was just way off.
Yeah, it was. I think we all agree that was distasteful. It was not. It shouldn't have happened. So maybe we can learn a lesson as well from as people who help others, not the things we say about them afterwards, and to be careful of who we ask help from, because you know, confirm. That's what Brenda Fassi once said. Confirm. All right, another thing that has been recently trending is Faith Nketsi. I know she's someone who's well known. As to what she's known for, I don't know. I think you'll help me here. She released an EP, and she's a rapper now. She's not the first one to do something like this. You saw Boiti did something like that, and she got her reaction from Black Twitter in particular. So Faith also got her own dose of Black Twitter just recently. So I want, before we go in, who is Faith? What does she do? I don't know what she does. I'm hoping that you'll educate me.
Okay, Faith, what I know about it, this is what I know about Faith and kids. She came into the industry back when twerking was a thing.
Yeah.
Queen Twerk, she had a group and they were twerking, whatever. She moved on to being a slay queen, if I can call it that. You know those people who make money, but you don't know how they make money because they don't know working, but they're pretty and they travel and they look nice.
Okay.
So she's trading in cryptocurrency. I mean, I think
Ooh.
that's what they call it. I think. Please put allegedly there because
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Okay. So her claim to fame is what?
Twerking.
Twerking. Okay, now she's released an EP, and I saw a short clip of her performing during the launch, performing in front of a crowd there. I don't know what I thought of it. And Black Twitter is so creative. They came up with their own lines and says these are the bars coming from Faith's album. You've seen it, yeah.
Before we even go further, I think the producer is DJ Maporisa, right?
Oh?
I don't know.
Yes. I saw it on social media some other time, where Maporisa was praising Faith and people were not giving it a thumbs up already before the EP. Yes. Before EP was released,
Yeah.
They were working in studio with DJ Maporisa and people were not so keen on it. So when the EP came out, people were viciously waiting for it. So I think it was doomed for failure because before I even knew she had the EP, I knew she was in studio with DJ Maporisa. You know how Maporisa loves experimenting with almost everything.
Yeah.
So people were chasing Maporisa should stay my piano for a while. That's the working thing. This Faith thing is not on. Well, he pushed for it. Yeah, that's what I know about her.
So you're saying you think that this no matter how good the EP would have been or could have been, it was just doomed to be negatively. The comments were just going to be negative nonetheless. Why do you think that's the case? Uboiti also released the album.
I was about to say that when Boiti came in, when she started rapping, people were like, no, she sounds whack and whatever. But she's doing good.
So you think she's doing good?
Boiti.
Yeah.
Boiti's doing very well. Faith, maybe I think let's give Faith a chance. Now she'll get into the stream of things. Maybe she'll, I'm not saying EPIAC is bad. I haven't heard it.
Oh, good.
I'm not saying anything about her EP. I'm just saying let's give the child a chance.
Okay.
She's pretty. She looks like she knows what she's doing. Give her a chance, man.
I think people can create a stereotype around you regardless of what you do or say. The fact that people were not so keen on the EP before it was even released. So automatically when it was released, it was doomed as whack because they had already decided it was going to be whack.
Yeah, so you could actually write the tweets before the thing was released. So probably people already had their tweets ready. Just yeah. So what? The other thing is that you have this is a topic that has been raised before about people who do one thing and then they venture into another thing. Like you have these actors who now start doing music, or you have musicians who go into acting. How do you feel about that? Because if Faith is known for twerking and being but what's like in South Africa with the unemployment so high and so on, what's your take on this thing? People doing more than one job, actually, especially in the creative industry.
I think when you are an artist, you must be an all-rounder. You can't possibly master all the spheres of the art industry, but you should have a basic. Whenever there's a need for you to do something, you should be able to. We've seen a lot of artists who have done it successfully. For example, Nak Music, he was on Generations some time back, and now he's a successful singer doing very well. So it's not for everyone, but yes, there are people who are able to do it successfully. And there are those people who just wish, give other kids a chance. It's just one of those. We are teachers, we are social workers, we are all of these things at once. So I believe as artists too, they should be able to entertain others.
Yeah. Now let's look at the tweets, the funny tweets. Tandega hasn't said anything. Did you see the tweets? Or do you want to say something before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, into engifuna ukuyisho mina based on this is that what I feel about labantu abenza izinto eziningi from one industry to another within like the same art
entertainment industry.
Somehow I feel like the labantu who are also part of the production, labantu abakhetha cast, abakhetha nantondon. It's also about the publicity of that particular person. Maybe suppose that not music. If people love him on Generations, it's easy to also attract the same audience to music. So I feel like also maybe they are using that criteria to really move people around, doing a lot of things. But also, I feel like now sometimes I don't think they are doing a good job in other fields, and I feel like guys, talent.
No, I don't think. I think get your bag wherever it is. If your bag is in music, go there. If tomorrow it's in acting, follow it. If the next day it is in I don't know what, girl, get your bag.
But we understand there's some people that who are actually doing this thing. There's one person who gets cut out for
how
that.
are you supposed to find out what are you good at when you just stick to one thing? You must explore all these other things. Exhaust all your options. Exhaust all your talents that you think you have. And then you'll figure out, okay, maybe my calling Mina is this, and then you'll stick to it eventually.
Manduli.
Yeah, if you just keep your hands closer to your body so that
Okay. Manduli, ngiyabuza ne. It's good ukuthi abantu ba explore all the possibilities ukuthi what are they good at. Because I'm contributing from the team.
Don't worry about it. I don't know with South Africa, the industry. Others claim that our industry is a bit too small. Our creative industry is a bit too small. The entertainment industry is a bit small for you to make a living doing one thing. That's the argument. That's why Americans stick to one thing. There are those who put a foot here and there, but they hardly do all of them. Yeah, we all meet man. But my only concern about this, my view, is that there are people, like you were saying, that others, because they use the publicity they get from something else and then they use it to attract an audience on something else. I feel there are people who are better, who do a better job at the other thing, but because they don't have the publicity, and then they don't get the support that they really deserve. The good musicians out there, but they don't have the publicity. We were talking about it with a friend a few days ago, and you listen to the song, you ask yourself, but this song was released 3 years ago. How come people don't know the song? Because the guy is not known. They're even referred to as underground. Well, I guess once you get that one thing, maybe you should. Yeah, there goes the siren again. I did mention the issue of the siren. All right. Should we move on to the next? Should we go to evaluation of his PTPT, or is there something else that you wanted us to talk about before we go to evaluation of his PTPT? And by the way, to the listeners, today we are going to evaluate this PTPT more than once, because as you can hear, there's okay.
We didn't get to say the rap.
Oh, okay. Before we go there, what's your Black Twitter came out and displayed their bars for days. I saw like the lines that they claim that are on the EP. Well, most of those things are not necessarily on Faith's song, but they were just making fun of it. What was your favorite lines or bars that were thrown on Twitter?
First of all, I just want to say South Africa is creative. Black Twitter. My favorite one was I throw a Tsonga kid in the fire. Call that Ishanga. She does.
Oh, but what's him? It says I throw Rama in the air. Yeah. Call that Rama pause.
Ooh, I make my sister cry. Call me a crisis.
What's yours?
Mr. T. All the three. I wanted to mention the one that's one mentioned. Yeah. But yeah, no, Twitter came through, guys. But Black Twitter can be funny, but it can also destroy you at the same time. It can make you and it can also destroy you. Right, should we move on to the evaluation of his PTPT? Right. Okay. What are we evaluating on his PTPT?
This president must then evaluate. As soon as there is a pity, then you evaluate. Evaluate his pity.
amahle nayo upasile bethunana uyiprima ki umayitri uyiprima ki current uyiprima ki current guys. Yeah, I am so excited. Iprima ki current uyilondo bethunana mntanam kodwa.
All right. As educators, we are recording this episode just after the schools have closed. So report cards have been given. It's only the grade 12 results that are still waiting to be released in January. You've just released the report cards. How did that go? Did the learners pass? How was the reaction from the learners and the parents? We know how results can be. It can generate all kinds of excitement and disappointment. How did it go?
You see, Mr. Malatula, osmosis is the diffusion of water molecules when you have a learner standing at the door and is buying amachewu. To be short, it's always a different experience because you have different learners in each year. The number of learners in your class change every now and then, but my personal experience wasn't as bad as I thought it would have been because most of my learners came and collected their report cards in time. Just one or two those naughty learners who did not come. But overall, I've had different experiences throughout the years. I had one case where one learner was insisting that he be progressed because he's old. So I don't know how does it work, but he came with his father, told me that he's old, he's supposed to go to the next grade. So it's just that case, but overall it wasn't as bad as other years. Well, I noticed some teachers had a struggle, but personally not so bad, yeah. I don't know, maybe Zwana can share?
Mina, drama. First year of teaching, I saw flames. Okay.
Your learners passed mostly or failed mostly?
The majority failed.
Okay.
Like it was the ratio of 80-20.
That's bad.
It was that bad. And then you find yourself mntakubuza uthi ma'am ngifeyile kanjani. Overall ufailile, you learned other subjects. I wasn't there writing with you, but you come questioning me ma'am ngifeyile kanjani. So now I no longer know how to respond to such questions. So that was tricky for me. Bese kuba nalabantwana ke baletha ama textbook on the day. Yeah, I was really frustrated on that day. I administered the issuing of reports until the end. And another thing, I feel like it's a challenge with this issue of AMA reports. We're trying to ensure that our schools materials of learning are like
sufficient.
Yes, sufficient. Then uthola abantwana ke bangaletha ama textbook. Now I no longer know how to deal with such cases.
Yeah, and you know that apparently the Department of Education won't allow you to withhold their child's results because of that. But at the same time, they expect the school to retrieve 100% of the LTSM. LTSM is the learning and teaching support material, to those who don't know. So
somehow I feel like whenever we go to the SGB, we keep on asking for the same things. Go to SGB, give us money, we need to buy textbooks time and again. So we can't really take AMA funds and actually do something else to actually improve the state of our classrooms in these public spaces.
Yeah, you know, one of our colleagues once, we all work at the same school, by the way, once mentioned this thing of saying there seems to be a black hole somewhere wherever we seem to be throwing our resources and they disappear, and that's it. The following year, the budget service, the very same thing we bought last year, they disappear. It's one of the challenges in a public school, I suppose.
Yeah, my challenge. Well, okay, let me just say this. I have 46 kids in my class and only 2 failed. The rest were progressed. None passed. None of them passed like on their own.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's a communication. What is it? Yeah. Now, one of the things I think the public needs to understand is that the pass requirements are not understood by many people to a point where when people blame the education system, the first thing they would say is that 30% is a pass, but they don't really know, because if a learner gets 30% in all the subjects, they don't pass. And because this learner thought, if I get 30% in all my subjects, I have passed, but they then they don't meet the requirements, and so so some of the parents are very, very difficult to deal with. I'll play a clip at the end of this to highlight to the listeners how some of the parents actually demand that their learners be moved to the next grade. By the way, the progression thing that has been happening before, where learners were progressed even if they did not meet the requirements. What's your take on that? It has been revoked by the Department of Education. It's no longer compulsory for departments to do that, but schools are at liberty to progress learners based on the behavior and so on and so on. What's your take on that before we close this matter?
I'm glad it was revoked. I am so glad. I feel like it made these learners so lazy because they know, Guti, I can't be in the same phase for more than
2 years.
so eventually bazongphasisa. I'm too old for this. It made them lazy. They knew Guti oksalayo eventually. Yes. So I'm glad Guti manje they need to work for the next grade.
Yeah.
And I feel like that one was not even understood properly, even by the parents, because they thought just because I failed now it means it's automatically I'm going through. Because there were requirements that had to be met. The learner should not be absent for a certain number of days. The learner must have submitted all the school-based assessments. The learner must have passed the language of learning and teaching, like English. If they fail English, they don't qualify for that. Things like that were not met even during the progression period. So.
But generally, I feel like abazali in these schools that we normally, for us, we are 7. Abazali that just take the word that suits them or that would justify them in some situations. They don't really pay attention to the full detail and the criteria actually that needs to be met for such things as a progression. So I feel like abazali, maybe we should really shadow them into actually what qualifies a child to be progressed. So that we communicate the message clear, so that now mabafika this is what we said, and they can hold us down to it.
And these are the same parents who are not there throughout the year. They will come on the last day with the report. They like No.
I also wanted to say the same.
Yeah.
Kids you didn't even know had parents up
Exactly.
until the last day.
I had a story about that as well. I think last year when 2 years ago, not last year, when a learner had failed. This learner had failed term 2, term 3, and then obviously term 4 as well. Now we only saw the parent for the first time on the last day of school, coming to complain about why did the learner fail. And the question we asked the parent, but this learner failed term 2, you didn't come to school to question. Term 3, she failed, you didn't come. You see, I think we always say this to parents, that the education system is more like a tripod stand. It has these 3 legs: the parent, the learner, and the teacher. If one falls, the whole thing collapses. But in our case, I think as people who work in public schools, we are struggling. We have to play the role of the parent as well at the same time. To the listeners, just know we are working hard and we try. So when you want to say all this nasty stuff about us, just remember we work hard and we deal with a lot. We deal with a lot, and sometimes we are chased by these learners through the school premises, carrying knives and stuff like that. All those kinds of things, pangas and stuff. We had that in our school. Was it this year? Yeah, this year we had that. I had to run for my life. I found myself at the center.
And I think now we are thankful for the song Kabaribe Baba. Fire, we will pray.
All right, let's move to the last topic of our evaluation of Ispitipit.
Right. So I failed to understand ukuthi i-report yakhe i-first term yakhe uthole i-report yakhe i-first term uphasile nge-48%, then if i-term 2 waphasa nge-42%, and then i-term 3 nathi aka-achivanga nge-50%, then manje i-term 4 i-38%. So I want to know ukuthi wonke amanye ama-marks wakhe aye kuphi nendawo. If not kanjalo ngicela ukuthi nenze iplan, let nimprogress ke once and for all. nimprogresse mangabe kuukuthi it's that the case ngoba vele explanation engizoyithola it won't satisfy me vele at the end of the day. Can you please progress my daughter ayozixakekela ka grade 12 if she have to ukuthi azixakekele khona ngomoya nje omuhle wesonto, please. Thank you.
And what's the deal? Churches are full. People are praising God. Africans pray all night. Prayer is not in the success equation. Prayer is in the revelation equation. Decision making is in the success equation. You have to make a decision and be sound. We have to be disciplined and make sure we go and get what God has called us to get. You can be full of the Holy Ghost, but you can still be ignorant. But as for me and my house, I will get understanding. I will get understanding. I will get understanding. It's time now for us to rise up and be counted. This year, the country of Ghana turns 50. Ghana was born the same year we were born, in 1957. Ghana and South Korea had their independence dates on the same day, the same year. But look where South Korea is. South Korea is by nature not a Christian nation. South Korea by nature are Buddhists. China, which is the next large world economy, they have stated that in the next 10 years, 20% of the Chinese people will be multimillionaires. That means almost 450 million Chinese will be millionaires. They are not Christians, they are Buddhists. The Japanese are Shintoists. Those in Indonesia and Malaysia are Muslims. It's not about praising God and hallelujah and a great thank you, Jesus. It's about possessing an understanding as to how things work.
All right, there's a clip from Bishop Tudor Bismarck talking about prayer and success and comparing the different countries of the world and how successful various countries are. I don't want to talk too much about this one. I just want your take on this thing, on how Africa seems to be still languishing in poverty amidst of all these churches and praying and so on. Yeah.
Okay. There's a part where the bishop says, as for me and my house, we will get understanding. You know, I don't think as Africans we understand what it means. Uti, God helps those who help themselves. You cannot pray your life away and not put in the work and not do anything. Yes, some miracles siyawatanda, but do something. You know, get up. Now uNkulunkulu uzokmitha halfway. He's not going to do all the work for you. As much uthandaza uzijopela amadolo, but as long as you are not putting in the work.
Are you a believer? Good.
I am.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to know if you are a believer. Yeah,
but I'm not a passive believer. Okay. Yeah. The problem starts with being passive and just expect miracles to fall from the sky.
But let it not be far-fetched, Uguti. Even in the same Bible, there are people abanikeza amatalent.
Yeah.
True.
And laba abanye bayawasebenzisa, and there's the one lo ohlala naye ngenye. So when you put in the work,
exactly,
like there's no
talent. It goes back to, you know, the question you asked, is it fair for people to, by acting, by music, exhaust your talents?
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna have a different take. I personally feel that it's not just prayer, but in Africa we've got this whole sorts of religion in Africa, because those who don't pray believe maybe in ancestors, and they practice a whole lot of ancestral stuff, which when you sit down and analyze it is also a cost. See, I once had this conversation with my friend. He was explaining how much he's been spending on his first job in less than 6 months, where he had to go and thank the ancestors. He had to get a cow, he had to get that and that and that and that and that. Then after that he lost a job. Then he had nothing that he had saved from the job, because as soon as he got the job, he needed to have some religious practice. So I feel like a religion as a whole, if misinterpreted, it can be a burden, and it can hinder any sort of improvement. Because if you believe in ancestors, surely you get your first job in January, in December, savings, get a car and all of that, which is all of your savings, and all of that, which you believe you're doing the right thing. If you're a Christian, you tithe, Thanksgiving, I'm a pledge and all of that. So I feel like whatever you become slave to and you have misinterpreted, then it becomes a burden and it slows you down. Understanding is what you actually need of any sort of religious practice. Let it be ancestral, let it be prayer, whatever it might be, whatever that you believe in. Understand.
Yeah.
All right. The reason why I thought we should talk about this, because initially I had planned to have this conversation with just one of you, and then we end up being the four of us, which is even better. The more the merrier. Is because personally I've had I said something on social media the other day, and people really did not take it very well. I said I have a problem with people who, when they succeed, the first thing they say on social media, say, thank God for this, thank God. Yes, we have to thank God for that and so on. But I think it creates a wrong impression to other people to say that all I need to do is pray and all this will fall like manna from heaven. I'll just get the car and the house. We work hard behind closed doors. We sleep at 2, sleep at 3 at dawn. And then, yes, God will give us the opportunity to achieve what we want to achieve. But I think we need to teach this to the young ones to know that it's actually their work. Just pray for God to give you the opportunity, and then once you get the opportunity, you put in the work, and then
just in short, I saw this clip not so long ago of a pastor on social media who was saying, how do you give so much money to your pastor? That pastors should actually go get a job. So I believe when you're a pastor, you're supposed to feed the spiritual side of people and not be a burden to them, because most pastors now, we are actually feeding them financially. Most pastors don't work.
It's a career.
And if you look at Jesus, he was a carpenter. Like he did stuff, he worked, but pastors don't work no more.
My next, not in one of the future episodes I've planned, I have a friend who's a pastor. I want to sit down with him and want to talk about. I know he's going to disagree with most of the things we just said today, but but that's the beauty of the podcast. We can have all our views, different views. Guys, thank you so much for your time. We've broken the record. This is probably the longest episode that we've had. Even the siren is telling us that it's time to leave now. It's time to leave the school premises. Guys, we're recording here from the school premises on the last day of school for educators, not for learners. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for making time to listen. Episode 9 of the Off-Air podcast series. We'll see you again on episode 10. And episode 10 will be the last episode in 2019. And then we'll continue in 2020. Yeah, do you want to parting?
Yes. Thank you for having us. Work for your money. don't expect miracle. Whatever you need to do for that money, do it. Okay. Just don't pray and expect miracle.
Yes. Okay. My favorite saying to my mentees is that never use prayer to substitute hard work. So it still stays. We must go and work for our mullah. And thank you for having.
And if you work for it, you're gonna spend it wisely.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for tuning in to the Off-Air Podcast Series, Episode 9. We'll see you each other on Episode 10, where we'll be closing 2019. Thank you. Father Krusha. Sure.
Mulimu ya mogolo Shifota Kurusha, Kanda Belia Traka, Spider Rolia Spine Memele Betlaga, Givija Wina da Toto Preparation, Marbaria da Traka, Memele Bejibi Kaina. All right, Givija Mulimu Abu Melabo Babe Danda Ruka Memele Berukshin, Yomogolo Wali Kaugalo Saida Rola, Remile Riadua. Amen.